Thank you all for joining, Leket supporters and Leket friends. So I want to start off by this. I want to start off, first of all, by telling everyone, thanking everyone in the Leket community worldwide for your support, whether it be financial, whether it be moral, whether it be cheerleading, whether it be just sending us a good word on Facebook, on WhatsApp, to email. It means a lot to us. This, of course, is a little different than the typical crisis we've been through in the 17 years that Leket's existed. We've been through many crises, the entire Intifada, different wars. But this is the first time that, unfortunately, I say it unfortunately because we're used to crisis here. This is the first time that the entire world is joining us in the crisis. So I want to, of course, wish everyone who's online now good health and stay safe and listen to the health authorities who are telling us what to do, even though sometimes it seems confusing and mind-boggling. I think all of us understand that this issue, this coronavirus crisis, is above and beyond anything that any of us in our lifetimes, except for maybe some of the older people on this call who maybe lived through World War II, through the Holocaust. Certainly in my lifetime, this is the biggest event that I've ever, and I think all of us in my age group, and certainly anyone younger than me, I think we're all in agreement, this is the biggest crisis that any of us have ever been through in our lives. And I, of course, want to thank our health authorities, doctors, nurses around the world for the really life-threatening work they're doing right now, taking care of all those who are so sick. So thank you to everyone. Okay, just quickly, for those who are not familiar with the work of Leket, normally Leket Israel has a very simple core mission. We rescue excess food from caterers, from army bases, from manufacturers, from events, from hotels, and from farmers, and we'll explain all of that in more detail. And we get that food through complicated logistics. We get that food from tens of thousands of volunteers a year who help us, and we get that through all types of partners around the world who help us gather this food, take this food from those who have it, and get to those who need it through a network of over 200 Israeli feeding charities. That's what we normally do. That's what we normally need resources for. That's what our normal staff is up to day to day, picking in the fields, managing volunteers, calling farmers, coordinating with hotels, and coordinating with over 200 agencies throughout the country who are feeding the poor. Those agencies are from Eilat in the south to Metula in the north. They're Jewish agencies, they're Arab agencies, Christian and Muslim, they're refugee agencies throughout the country taking care of those in need. That's Leket's day to day. Thankfully, a successful organization feeding in normal times over 175,000 people every week, taking care of them with cooked meals that we've rescued and with fruits and vegetables that we've rescued because market prices were low, because of acts of God and the stuff is damaged, because of order cancellation, and most importantly, because of market prices. Now, I don't have to tell everyone here that the world is, I'll say it in Hebrew first, hafuch hafuch. Everything is opposite. Everything is backwards. Everything has changed. The entire world as we know it right now is different, is changed. And all of us understand, Leket included, that we are in a very fluid situation, which is changing day to day. Decisions we're making today might change in 3 days. But about 2 weeks ago, after a lot of discussion by our board and by our senior staff, we came to the following decisions, and I'll explain why as I explain the decisions. Leket provides around 10,000 cooked meals a day to need-based organizations. Over the last month, as businesses have closed, as businesses have retrenched, as caterers have closed, as the limits on events have gone from 1,000 to 500 to 10, with rumors in Israel today of an event of 2 outside the family being the maximum. Obviously, hotels have closed, corporate cafeterias have closed, events have closed. The only place that hasn't closed completely is the Israeli army. But even that, as the days go on, we're seeing changes in our relationship there. What it means is that where we used to get around 10,000 cooked meals a day from those sources, we are now down to about 1,000, maybe 1,500 meals. And certainly if Leket staff members online, and I'm exaggerating the amount of meals we're collecting, please correct me and let me know. The point is, we're down around 90% in the meals that we provide. Now that, you could say on the one hand, well, Leket's a food rescue organization. Less meals being cooked, less waste. Your mission is out of whack right now. That's life. However, we of course understand, okay, Giddy just sent me, well, I have two messages. One telling me we're down to about 730 cooked meals a day that we're getting. So well over 90% of the amount of meals that we normally get have been cut off. Drastic numbers. We made a decision a little over 2 weeks ago that the people who Leket serves, as my cousin Eric Goldstein, who's the CEO of the UJ Federation of New York, was quoted today in the papers, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically said, those who are at risk are at even greater risk right now. And I couldn't, and Leket's team couldn't agree more. But I want to add something to what he said. It's not only those who Leket normally serves and the poor. Right now, we are having hundreds of thousands of more Israelis who are going on unemployment, people who are already living on the edge and are going to need to be helped. So the only thing Leket can do is try to actually grow our service. So we made a decision 2 weeks ago that the first thing that we did is we made an announcement that we were actually going to hire a number of the caterers who normally give us food for free, their excess food. We were going to hire them. We've hired 2 catering companies, and they've been able to put tens of workers of theirs back to work with the very simple equation: replace those meals. Okay? We need to get back up to 10,000 meals. If that means purchasing 6,000, we'll purchase 6, 8. If it means purchasing 10,000, we'll purchase 10,000. Of course, we don't necessarily have the funds for that, but it was important for us to make this announcement, put this out to the donor community. And I'm very pleased to say over the last 2 weeks that we have been providing thousands and thousands. It started with 6,000. It's over 9,000 today. Meals, not only to Leket's ordinary clients, but also to additional calls that have come in. So I'll give some examples. We have an organization we work with in Yafo that normally feeds 300 seniors a day. Normally they do that with their own budgets and with their own staff. Their center is closed. Their staff is not comfortable coming in. And of course, the elderly who they serve definitely should not be coming in. They called us. We said, we'll take care of those 300 meals. We added that to the meals that we're serving. That's one example. Let me just look here because I wrote some other notes. So that's on the side of cooked meals. We're also working with many more municipalities. We never work generally directly with municipalities, but right now we're working with about 15. We are bringing them meals and fruits and vegetables, which I'll get to in a moment, and they are distributing it through their network of volunteers. And who knows, maybe in the future, the partnerships with municipalities that have developed over the last 2 weeks will continue and allow us to do our work in even more effective and efficient ways. Let me just take a moment just to talk about funding and the kind of funding that's been coming in. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a worldwide crisis, and with it, of course, a stock market swoon, or some would say crash. Certainly, we're all feeling a whiff of recession, perhaps, I don't want to scare people, but perhaps even depression. Things look very, very scary economically right now, not just in Israel, everywhere in the world. And of course, those of us who are fortunate to be in Western countries like Israel, the US, and Canada, we can only imagine what's going to happen in the poorer countries in the world. I actually don't want to imagine it, but I'm scared personally, and I think all of us need to be. One beautiful thing, though, I've seen over the last 2 weeks, 2 beautiful things which I think people appreciate. Number one, we are getting, I would say, For every overseas financial donation that comes in, we're going to get about at least 3. Again, Leket staff can correct me if it's more than that, but at least 3 donations coming in from Israel. Okay, significant donations coming in from corporations. Significant donations, maybe some of you heard a $1 million shekel donation that came in as a match from Inbar and Marius Nacht, which the match was fulfilled. That was fantastic. That really gave us a push in the Israeli funding community. As a result of that donation, we had a $50,000 donation from Ambassador David Friedman, specifically for the food we're going to be providing over the next week for Pesach. Financially, and I was just asked a question, which I'll get to in a moment, financially, the response has been fantastic from all over the world, despite the fact that this is a crisis and people need to take care of their own communities in New York and Washington and Chicago and Los Angeles and Toronto and London. Our consistent supporters and many tens of thousands of new supporters have come in to help us. So we've raised a lot of money, but we are spending it fast. Each meal we distribute is costing us 20 shekels. Normally it costs us 4 shekels. So you can just imagine. So 20, and that 4 shekels we're still spending because we're still distributing them. So if we're providing 10,000 meals a day, that's basically 200,000 shekels a day just on the meals that we are distributing. So it's an enormous amount of money that we're spending. We're raising a fair bit, but we still need to raise more. So anyone who's on the call, please let that message get out. A question from David Kahn on our international board and also the chairman of our Leket Live annual mission to Israel, which today one of our supporters, Josh Schiffman, I know he can't be on this call, but he's a doctor and we wish him well. He's an anesthesiologist, so of course he's right in the middle of what's going on. He called me to find out if Leket Live was still going on. I said, we haven't canceled it officially yet. It's in the beginning of July, so we pray that it will still happen. But, it's hard to predict anything. In my house, all they're thinking about right now, they, of course, are desperate. They could care less about school happening, but they're desperate for Camp Moshe Canada to be happening. So, David Kahn asked the following question: how are you distributing these meals if the regular distributors cannot do so at their facilities? So, a majority of, and again, Leket staff, correct me if I'm wrong, a majority of Leket's not-for-profit partners are still open for business. If they're a soup kitchen, they may not be allowing people to eat in the kitchens, but they may allow people to come and pick up the food, or they may be doing more home deliveries. That's one way things are getting out. A Leket staff is doing a lot more home deliveries, a lot more, which is putting a lot of stress on our logistics. But again, that's what we need to be doing now. The municipalities have taken on, with their own volunteer bases, a big push to help us. For example, Rabbi David Fine, who's on this call, who runs the Barkai Institute for Practical Rabbinics, he basically took on for the city of Modi'in. He recruited the volunteers together with his team of rabbis, and they also spent a lot of money making it happen, opening a call center for the city of Modi'in, where Modi'in couldn't handle it. And they, together with their volunteers, have been distributing food that Modi'in has been purchasing, food that's been donated to Modi'in, including fruits and vegetables that Leket has been donating. So again, the situation is super fluid and super changing every day, and we're going to continue doing what we can. As an example, because even our team needs to get a little bit of a break, we're delivering for the Passover, for Erev Pesach, for Monday, Tuesday, even probably into Wednesday, we're going to be delivering 8 to 10 days worth of food then, to make sure, especially elderly and families and people who can't afford it, know that they have maybe not enough food, but a fair bit of food to keep them, which is kosher for Passover during the Chag. Let me just take a look over here at the live chat. Okay, so I'm just looking at these. So one of the questions from Valerie Gerstein is about what we're doing with. So The IDF has opened up a center. The IDF is helping us deliver primarily fruits and vegetables. I'm not sure if they're distributing cooked meals. Please, Leket staff, please pipe in with that. But the IDF, and if I know how to share a photo, maybe one of our staff members, Omer or Shira, can share. There was a photo today with the Leket emblem at the main army base together with all the other organizations that are helping in this crisis. And it's the big ones. It's Leket, Latet, Kol Chabad, major organizations who've come together with the army to try to make this as efficient as possible. But I do want to, let me address that for a minute, actually. In a perfect world and a perfect situation, everyone should be working together and there should be no inefficiencies. Right now, there is so much need and so much demand that the big organization should be coordinating. We should try to be acting as efficient as possible, but we understand there are going to be a million and one other initiatives happening right now. In a perfect world, that wouldn't be happening. It's the same thing that's happening now. I know multiple people who are, trying to raise money to buy additional masks for the hospitals. Does that make sense? No. Should the government and should hospitals be able to provide all those things directly? You bet. You bet so. But in a situation like this, even the government is totally overwhelmed. Look what's going on in the U.S. Who would have ever thought that this could be a possibility? Israel's actually in a relatively better position than many other places in the world. But the fact that you're hearing and seeing, this is just the time to be supportive, to help people, and in fact, to let Leket know. I'm getting messages day in, day out about places that need more help. We want to hear about them. The money we are raising now, and I want to make this is also very important for those of you on this call. The money Leket is raising now is to spend now. This is not for the day after. This is not for when we, what our concern is with the day after. It's to be spent now. That's what people are donating the money for now. Significant amounts of money to spend on buying food, to hire extra. Oh, I didn't talk about agriculture, so let me say about that. And I just want to mention that in Modi'in, there are over 350 volunteers right now, just as an example of one city coordinated through the municipality and through Barkai, distributing food and love. And also, obviously there are many people at home alone who just need, even through the door, a kind word to hear. Just want to talk about agriculture for a minute. So, as is happening throughout the world, and there was actually a big article about it in today's New York Times. David Fine, before I say the article, send your picture to me, and we'll try to share it. There probably is a way to share the picture, but I don't know. Next time we do this, we'll be even better experts. I just want to talk about what's happening with farmers. This is important. Okay, big article today in today's New York Times about what's happening primarily in Europe. Israel is quite similar. A lot of the farming work is done in Israel by Palestinians, in Europe by people from Eastern Europe. People aren't allowed in, or Palestinians have been asked by Israel if they want to be here and work, they have to commit to a minimum number of days to being in the country. And a lot of people just don't want to be away at this time in this situation from their families for, I think, a period of 30 days. So what it means is Israel as well, there are farms, and maybe some of you have seen the videos, there are farms that don't have enough workers. There are farms and organizations trying to get volunteers. Leket, as a policy, about 2 weeks ago, canceled all our volunteers. We are volunteers right now. We're not comfortable putting them in fields. We don't see how it works with what the government is telling us. So what we've done is we've hired additional staff. All the staff works together. They're comfortable with each other. They know where each one is going, where they know where they sleep at night. And they're, of course, they as well are making sure to keep those distances. So a lot of farmers are having trouble. So we're doing a couple of things to try to help the farmers. Number one, we are reaching out to them. They're reaching out to us. We're sending in volunteer teams to try to help them. We distributed hundreds of tons of fruits and vegetables more last week than we normally do. And a lot of it was potatoes, onions, citrus fruits, the kind of stuff the organizations like. One of the big issues, of course, is that farmers are concerned about their livelihoods. And so we are trying to actually figure out how we can even get them a little bit of money. So farmers who donate their produce to Leket, we're figuring out now how we can give them, even if it's something symbolic, a little bit of money to help them in these difficult times for them. With some farmers, if they have their own team, we will cover the cost of their team picking this to our own team picking it. But again, that situation can change tomorrow. I just want to see a little bit of my notes here. Right, so we're adding staff, and we've had to add extra refrigeration. We've had to add extra logistics, and we've had to add and a lot of Leket staff is doing work that it normally doesn't do, which is even packing fruits and vegetables in bags for delivery. So, for example, there's an organization, Enosh, which deals with people who have mental illness and depression, and we made for them hundreds and hundreds of bags last week of fruits and vegetables so they could distribute it to their clientele. So there's, again, a very fluid situation, changing. Jack Rosenblum asked, are you getting out to the media what you're doing? So we provided a link where there's a link, if you look in the chat, where you can see all the English speaking publicity. Shira, if you don't mind, post all the Hebrew if you have it. Hebrew publicity. We've had a lot of publicity. I've been on the radio many times, TV, Giddy as well, print, radio, etc. We're starting to see a little bit of a lessening overseas, and I think it makes sense. People are really focused now on what they're doing and the crises in their community, and we're very appreciative of all the reporters who did give us, and it helped us a lot with the support. Thank you, David, for the shout out. We're all working around the clock, and I want to point out to you, I'm sitting in a comfortable home in Ra'anana. My finances are in good shape. I have more than enough food on the table. The people who really deserve kudos from Leket is our staff, all of our staff, but I want to especially point out, the people who are on the front lines, who are making deliveries door to door, who are driving the trucks, who are picking in the field, all at personal risk, frankly, even though we're doing everything we can in our power. This is their own personal risk. They're out there. They're not saying no. We are not forcing anyone to come to work. Any Leket employee who is not comfortable coming to work doesn't have to. They can work from home. We're going to continue paying them for as long as we can. Let me take a look at this talk. What's your coordination with organizations to your volunteers? Should they see the clients? Okay, so Claire Elman, thank you for your question. So we are coordinating with as many organizations as we can. I don't know specific about the JDC, but what I do know is that we are getting lists from the government of who needs to be served, and if it's being served by the JDC or by Kol Al Chabad, we're not serving it. We're not serving those people. We've told all our volunteers, that's a great question. We've told all our volunteers, if they see a situation that's more than just food, okay, let us know so we can pass it on, whether it be to the health authorities, the municipalities, other organizations. It's a flip side to what we've been doing recently, for example, with United Hatzalah, where United Hatzalah has a program where they send volunteers to the homes once a week of elderly people. And we said to them, hey guys, once you're going, if you're there already, let us know if these people need food. Let's kill two birds with one stone. So we're aware of the issue. There's a lot of coordination going on, not enough, no doubt. But again, I think, unfortunately, this is a situation. Let me give you a perfect example. Today, one of our supporters wrote to me, and he said, your math's way off. You said you're trying to raise 6.5 million shekel for cooked meals. Isn't it really 19.5 million shekels? So I said to him, where are you getting that number? And he said, well, 3 meals a day times the number you're saying is 19.5 million shekels. I said to him, I wish we could provide 3 meals a day. Okay. All the people that we're serving need it. but we made a decision to try to give each person we're serving one meal a day because we want to be able to serve more people. That's a decision we've made often in Leket, and I wish there was, I wish there was a way, and that's why I think it's so important. I really believe right now, the more the merrier is not a problem, where normally I would say it is a problem. Of course, we need the JDCs of the world. I'm going to put us a step below that. The Lekets of the world, all the other organizations, let's put the government and the JDC and the mega organizations, the army at the top. We need to be making sure that we're in this close coordination. And actually, Giddy, I know you're on this call. We're going to make sure to check in, and Claire, please send us as well, Claire, who in the JDC we should be talking to, just to make sure that we are doing what we need to, because even though we call ourselves an umbrella organization, there are sometimes even bigger umbrellas than us. So that's a great question. I'm just looking. Yes, keep on making shidduchs, Valerie Gerstein, with whoever you can. So David Fine commented as well that, of course, what Leket trying to do now is not just deliver cooked meals. When we can deliver fruits and vegetables along with those cooked meals, we're more than happy to do that. Again, I think I've said enough. Any other questions for me? And if not, I will try to end, because I think I've given everyone a good sense of what's going on. I've really enjoyed this. Everyone knows. I don't know if my mother's on. If she's not on, that's sad for me. But I'll say my mother always said I was good at talking, so I should do something with talking. So I wasn't, I was a bit fresh when I was a kid. I'm still a little bit fresh, but less than I used to be. So Mom, I'm listening to you. I'm doing what I do best, which is talking. So any other questions? And we will do this again. Maybe, next week, maybe we'll wait a little bit further. Maybe wait to Chol HaMoed, because I think this is a great way to get the word out. I am hoping this was recorded. I think it was recorded, and we'll share it as well. If there are no other questions, Jackie Einstein Astroff, thank you for the kind words. We're going to do our best to keep this ship going. So I'll say a few things to everyone on the call. First of all, thank you. Okay, thank you for taking from your time. Hopefully, I see there are at least 10 people who are not Leket staff. So thank you to all of those. I hope there are a lot more that aren't Leket staff who've been on this call. That's number one. Number two, please do share. Please do share. And I'm gonna ask someone to please. I'm gonna post it. No, could someone else please post a link to our emergency site so everyone who's on here has it? Please share that site with everyone that you can. Okay, really, it's an issue of the more help we can. Look, I said 10,000 meals. I'd like to see 15,000 meals. It's simply a matter of resources. If we have the money, we're going to spend it. So please do share the link that was just posted with everyone. That's number one. Number two, this is not about Leket. This is just about everyone in the world. Please listen to your health authorities. I'm trying my best. It's really hard to stick 100 meters to your house. I'm not doing it perfectly, but I'm pretty close. So please listen to the health authorities. As sometimes, what they're saying might sound inane. Please do listen to them. Please remember to call your parents. My mother, certainly, she's home alone, which is very hard for all of us. She's been alone for nearly 3 weeks. Please remember to, if you have any questions, MADA has a special hotline set up. Don't be shy to call them. They're set up for this. Hatzalah set up for this. They are the experts. They know what the answers are to the questions that are ongoing. So with no further ado, thank you everyone for being on the call. Thank you for the dry powder, as I call it, that you've given Leket, the funds, the resources that you've given us to expand our mission greatly. Right now, we have resources to keep this going for the next few weeks, but we're all praying that this will end sooner and we'll be able to go back to normal life. But if that isn't the case, rest assured, our team is committed, and hopefully our donor base is committed as well. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and keep on helping whomever, and wherever and however you can. Be safe, everyone. Toda rabah.